Hey everyone, today I want to talk to you about our chemical blade. It's going to be our basic storage for all of our data, and we can also do a couple other cool things in there, so we'll just jump right into it. So first I just want to show you, here's your selection of chemicals that we have data for, and basically it's going to show all of the basic information, and we can do a couple other things with it. So first of all, we got our pre-emergent data down here. So this is going to be all the below ground control for this chemical, and we also have the post-emerge data right up there. Other information, the company, the link to the label. Pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to bring you right to the Acuron label here for more information on anything. The EPA registration number, the use rate, you can change this to whatever you want to do, and then that kind of becomes, you know, customized to you and what your ratings are. You can always change it as you're going through the process, but I mean, it's just a good to have like a base. So Roundup, you might have 32 fluid ounces or 40 or whatever you usually would do on a normal day, and then you can adjust it later. Compatible crops, of course, and that changes with all the different chemicals. And then the list of the active ingredients in the chemical with the concentration. If you notice, these are all links. Those go to our active ingredient page. So all the active ingredients in the program are also stored and kind of kept track of. And these are, over here is a list of all the chemicals containing this active ingredient. So all of these contain mesotrione, and this is just a graph that shows commonly associated active ingredients. So we can see, so S-metolachlor, 36%, that's what this is. 36% of these also contain S-metolachlor, so they're often, you know, joined together quite a bit. And then these are also links over here, so we can click on that, and then that brings up this new list over here. And these ratings down here are just an average of all of these products put together. So you can kind of get a good kind of feel for how the active ingredient can perform too. Okay, so a couple other things here. Basically, we have this weed resistance part. I'm really excited about that. We can now track how good these chemicals are doing when it comes to weed resistance. This is going to be big for group 9s and group 2 herbicides. Basically, these are just examples. I set up water hemp as 50%, kochia as 35%. But if we put these back to 100, I can kind of show you what's happening here. Let's just highlight those. Water hemp, kochia. So we can see water hemp, or kochia is at 85%, water hemp is at 81%. So if we just switch these to 50% as effective as the current control rating for kochia, these should split in half basically. This should be 40 and this should be about 42. So we got 42 and 40. So now these ratings are changed in the program. You can add as many as you want, and it will be changed in the weeds tab, it'll be changed in the crops tab, and everything else. So we also have this create custom chemical, and that's basically our way of putting generics in the program. So if you have a generic of Roundup Power Max, you can put it in the program. It's got its custom use rate, EPA registration number, all that good stuff. So we'll just make one really quick here. So we'll make a parent of Roundup Power Max, and that's basically saying we're using the exact data for Roundup Power Max. This generic is just going to have different name, different, you know, cost and all that stuff, but the data itself is going to be the exact same as Roundup Power Max. Share, basically you're sharing it to the other people in your account so you don't make the same chemical over and over again. So we do want to share that. Custom chemical, let's just name it Durango, and then I got the label pulled up here. So it is by Dow. Continue. The link. Basically, you're just copying and pasting the URL. EPA registration number. Compatible crops. Add, take stuff out. You know, this comes in handy when you're talking about some chemicals that are generic, but they are actually labeled for different crops. You can change the active ingredients to whatever you want. You know, we kind of leave the responsibility to you on that, and what the parent is and what the generic is. So we leave kind of the responsibility on your part for your operation. Durango is 100% as effective as Roundup Power Max. Basically, that's just saying, you know, if maybe it's a 4-pound glyphosate instead of a 5-pound, you might want to bump it down a little bit. Whatever you think on the deal with that is, we're just gonna leave it as 100% effective. Baseline cost. Again, that's completely based on your operation, based on what you do. And then of course the baseline rate. So that's it. So that's 1, 2, 3 steps: parent chemical, basic info, then these details right here. So now once we make that, Durango is now in the program as a legitimate chemical with all these ratings that we brought back. If you notice, the weed resistance did not get carried over that we just made, so we have to remake those. We did water hemp at 50%, save it. The new EPA registration number, the new link to the label is there, and it's basically the same exact program. The only other thing I'll add with this is that you have to remember to add it to your price sheet if you want to use it to make recommendations and, you know, use it for the price sheet functions, which we have other videos on that too.